Hey guys, Aaron Wilson. I'm at NRG Stadium, and today is C.J. Stroud's 24th birthday. So happy birthday, C.J. And I thought it would be a good time to talk about his season and his growth as a quarterback and the state of the Nick Caley offense that they've installed. And obviously it has a lot of New England Patriots concepts and kind of the evolution of where does C.J. fit into all this. And timing is good. One, because of his birthday, but two, he's coming off his best performance of the season and his highest passer rating since that playoff game against the Cleveland Browns where they had the blowout victory in the wild card round. And this is going back a couple of years, I know. But yeah, for CJ, I saw some positive signs of growth, and I saw signs of growth from the offense. And while I won't call them a good offense yet, it was an acceptable offense, and it was more to the standard that they need to play at to be able to win a football game. So looking at, this fourth quarter, if they can bottle that up a little bit, the 3 touchdowns. But there was one touchdown in particular, and I think this one is worth breaking down, and how CJ orchestrated the offense and showed some autonomy, and that's what everyone's been waiting to see from CJ and from this offense that Nick Caley has implemented with his time with Sean McVay with the Rams, but even more so, his influence from his days in New England with Bill Belichick and with Josh McDaniels. So the Texans, they have a 26-0 shutout victory they manufacture, and the touchdown pass to Jaden Higgins, the rookie receiver, for his first NFL score, this was the best play that I've seen from the Texans in the sense of how they did it. So it took advanced knowledge, it took scheming, and it took a lot of information from CJ to get to that point, to get the 24-yard touchdown. And if you look at the play and break that down, it was really a big-time showcase of Stroud's arm and accuracy, but also his mind. And he goes 22 for 28. He passes for 233 yards. He has 125.1 passer rating, and he throws a touchdown pass to Woody Marks. Woody obviously did most of the work. That was a catch and run. But this play, this was an adjustment. This was an audible. And CJ recognized that the Titans are in cover 1. And this is a scheme that their defense coordinator, Denard Wilson, likes to run a lot. So at the last minute, he has motion. And as he explained it, they're in man, and they showed where they play best player, best receiver. So he thought that their linebacker, Cody Barton, who's good in pass coverage, was going to help out L'Jarius Sneed with Nico Collins. So he signals in the route concept, and he sees that this is going to work. And with the motion that they had from Jalen Noel, they're able to see how will they react to make sure they're in the coverage he thinks they're in, that there's going to be some help from Barton heading over to try to assist on the major threat. Obviously, everyone's going to concentrate on Pro Bowl wide receiver Nico Collins. But in this case, the rookie receiver, Jaden Higgins, winds up making the play and benefiting from that extra attention that Collins commands. So you see them, get into this route and the concept, and first they have the check down, and then they have this third down. So when they go out of the huddle, they're looking and they see Barton, and he's trying to figure out the coverage. So when Noel motions, then you see the nickel go with the slot receiver, and so then you can see all the attention for Nico, and you can also see that CJ is going to look at the defense differently and how he reads the defense. So again, thinking inside the game and looking at the intentions of the linebacker, and it gave it away what the Titans were going to do. So when CJ Stroud signals Jaden Higgins, Dalton Schultz, then you see Jaden Higgins run a fade route, and he's great at running that. He's lined up in the slot, and Schultz runs a little hitch route, and that all he has to do is beat Amani Hooker, who's not capable of staying with Jaden Higgins, and he goes over the top, and gets him the football. And it was just a really good throw, and was stuck his foot in the bucket, planted and delivered the ball and threw it. And this was something where D'Amico Ryans had a lot of praise for C.J. Stroud. Said this was an outstanding play, and thought it was his best game of the season so far. But timing, alerts in the run game, making the proper checks, going to the right spot. So to me, this is a step in the right direction. This is about the quarterback and the offense coordinator working together as a tandem. And we talked a little bit yesterday about Caley and kind of where he stands as a play caller. And I do think, regardless of them, not really talking about it, this is a case of they're making some advancements in the overall game as far as understanding what Caley wants to run, the offensive line performing better, which was the missing equation in some of these games. Right now, they were 15th in next-gen stats this past game for the percentage of pressure on dropback, so step in the right direction in the 36th percentile. So operation was cleaner, less penalties, better running the football. Woody Marks, a real revelation what they're doing with Woody Marks. Whether or not he's a starter, to me he is RB1 because of his dynamic ability to catch the football out of the backfield, make people miss. He has power, he has speed. He's a good pass protector. Overall, just a strong player. You see his vision, you see how he can run the ball, explosive traits, catch the football very naturally. A lot of good things happening with him. Of course, that crushing block that he delivered in pass pro, and that's what really will endear you to increase your playing time. And it's very, very good to see that happen and for that to ramp up. More Woody Marks, obviously. But yeah, for Stroud, I know he's drawn some criticism, circling back to C.J. He's been an NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's been a Pro Bowl quarterback. And I think last year you got to attribute a lot of that to the offensive line and Bobby Sloak and him not being on the same page, not meshing as well as they should have. And I think it's a work in progress. But I think it's a step in the right direction for Stroud. And I think Stroud is still the same quarterback. And like he says, he's got to work on his body language. Sometimes he looks a little like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. And you can see it. You can see that from him. And sometimes he'll make a comment about, whether he's fast or whether he's not as fast as high school, all those things. I think he's fast enough. I think he runs well, ad-libs well, can do some things on the run. But, he's completed 67.5% of his passes, 832 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he was efficient. And that's okay. He can be efficient. He's got to do that more. But, I didn't really understand some people dunking on him for saying that he's not in his grown man body. It's that he's still a young quarterback. We're not grading him or taking it easy on him or anything or praising his season, but I think it's important to encapsulate that and understand his season. And there were times where it didn't look very good around him, and it does affect the quarterback. Should you hope that the quarterback can elevate and bring everybody up to his level? Of course, but easier said than done. And I think for CJ, because he's not like a Michael Vick type of runner or a Lamar Jackson, he's his own type of quarterback. He's a traditional pocket that can also get out and do boots, and I thought the boot plays were good this past game. So I'm seeing progress, and I'm not like cheerleading for him here or anything like that. I'm just saying, let's be fair. Let's look at what he did well, what he can still do even better. He was more accurate. He took better care of the football. The time of possession was good. The running game was better. The offensive line, absent the Jeffrey Simmons play where CJ called the alert and they needed the alert, but it didn't get communicated to all of the lines. Some linemen heard him. Some of the people, Andrews, was kind of quiet. Jake Andrews, the center, on that play. But overall, they got it done. So what does this mean for the Ravens game? Well, remember, the Ravens are missing Nnamdi Madubuike and Broderick Washington, who are on injured reserve. Kyle Hamilton hasn't practiced in days, so not expecting Kyle Hamilton to play. That's their all-world safety. All 6'4", 6'5", of him, very rangy guy, good tackler, covers a lot of ground, cuts down passing lanes. So if he doesn't play, along with Odafe Owe, who was a 10-sack guy, I think it's tough. They will not have Roquan Smith. They will not have Marlon Humphrey. They're going to be missing a lot of guys. So that injury report has not been kind to the Ravens. The Texans need to take advantage of that. It's still going to be the Ravens. They're still going to be well coached, and this is going to be a game where they have all their skill players. And we'll get more into it. We're going to do more of a formal preview. But today, I mostly want to talk about the offense and Stroud and his place in it and him taking ownership and taking charge. He did take charge against the Tennessee Titans. And yeah, I know the Titans are bad. They're 0-4. All those things are true, and they weren't executing very well in terms of efficiency and finishing and all those things early in the game. But they did wake up in the fourth quarter, and they got to bottle that up. They got to replete that. They've got to do that against quality opponents, and there are a bunch of them coming. Besides the Ravens, who are having a bad year, but there's the Seattle Seahawks, there's the San Francisco 49ers, there's the Denver Broncos, and later games against the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the schedule is tough. It's a first-place schedule, and the Texans are not looking like a first-place team anymore. But the season is a lot of football left. They can get involved in the race, but it's going to take more of what we saw from Stroud, especially on that one play. And to me, that was a key moment. And, maybe he would downplay it. I don't know. But, I think he's proud of it. And so were the Texans. So looking at kind of where things stand now and using the rookies more, that will help CJ too. Jaden Higgins is a big target. That's someone you can throw to. Jalen Noel's good underneath. We haven't really seen much from Christian Kirk. I'm starting to wonder, when is that going to start happening? Is it the hamstring, or is it something else? So they need to continue to work on the pre-snap communication. They need to continue to have more motion. They need to continue to be a more dynamic offense. But at least they were a solid offense, and that is something of a foundation that they could build on, a benchmark for the Texans and core principles of the offense, as Nick Caley calls it, their offense, their structures, their DNA. What I think you see with the feedback that they're getting in terms of how they make adjustments, how they make tweaks and changes, formations, movement, coaching points, specifics, the finer points, the details, the nuances. They're taking steps. And as Nick Caley says, they got to see it through the same eyes. And they don't have to always agree on the same things, but they have a good conversation. I thought it was a very honest moment from Nick, and it helps him get a feel for how does Nick Caley see things, and ultimately get a feel for how he sees things, interprets things, and they can arrive at the decisions best for the offense. They did that in that instance. They need to keep doing it. But as Nick said, they have their offense. He thinks it's evolved, even the short time in the 4 weeks, and we'll see where it goes. So fascinated to see, where does this progression take the Texans ultimately? Are they going to get to a point where they are a dynamic offense, or just a solid offense, or a bad offense? And I think the jury is still out on all of those things. Any of those things could happen, but they're not there yet. They're not a finished product, and they need to get better. So they need to have a confident offense, a decisive offense, and a lot of this comes back to Caley and his coaching, and Cole Popovich, the run game coordinator and offensive line coach, the receivers coach, Ben McDaniels, and everybody else on the offense. So it's got to get better, but I do think what's been underplayed here by media, all media, including myself, it didn't look very good in the preseason, and I think we underrated how tough would it be to put in a whole new system and expect all these new players, all these moving parts, and C.J. Stroud to all know it by rote, have it all memorized, and be comfortable in it. It's about being comfortable. And I know the team, felt like, well, they should be comfortable. Well, they weren't. They didn't look comfortable. So we can only go off the results. We can't go off of, well, they look good this practice, they did well in this, they know this, or I think they know this. It's about what you do. And you are what your record are, as Bill Parcells wisely and simply said. So they're a 1-3 team with a chance to be 2-3, and they should get to 2-3. They got to take care of business against the Baltimore Ravens, and that means for C.J. Stroud, another clean football game. He's got to take care of the ball. They haven't scored touchdowns against the Ravens, except for Steven Sims. So, it hasn't looked very good for the offense against Baltimore, but it's a depleted Baltimore team, and Zach Orr's still growing as a defense coordinator. If there's ever a time for the Texans to get well against Baltimore, who they're 2-13 against all time, including 0-2 when DeMeco Ryans was playing against the Ravens for the Texans as a Pro Bowl linebacker. It's now. So for C.J. Stroud, yeah, happy birthday, C.J. And I think you're seeing C.J., the maturation, the growth, and all of those things that you need and hope for from your signal caller, your franchise quarterback, and someone that I think the Texans will still make a giant investment in, perhaps as soon as this offseason. So we'll see how the season finishes out. There's a lot on the line for the Texans, for C.J., and I think they're heading in the right direction. They still need to get more from some of these other targets, including Christian Kirk. They got to figure out ways to get him the football, or Jalen Noel, but they can't have just a couple of targets. And I think Dalton Schultz is still underutilized in this offense. So, guys, I'm going to head to Baltimore, and where I, of course, used to cover the Ravens, and the Joe Flacco era, and the Brian Billick era, and the John Harbaugh era, and all those things. Ray Lewis, Jonathan Ogden, Ed Reed. I look forward to seeing a good football game on Sunday, one of many that I've covered in Baltimore, Maryland. So that'll be fun. I'm from Washington, D.C., of course, so I'll see my family. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to get on the plane, go out there a little early tonight, and excited. So it'll be good trip, and we'll see if the Texans are going to win. I'm going to have more coverage before the game. Of course, I'm probably going to head up to M&T Bank Stadium on Saturday to do a little preview, so we'll have some bonus coverage. And, of course, please watch, like, and subscribe. Watch is important. Really can't emphasize that enough. We're getting a lot of subscribers. Just need people to watch, and it does help support the channel, which helps support my family, helps attract advertisers. I'm doing this for fun, but also, it's a business too. YouTube is serious business, and all of the great creators in this market, they're in it, all in it to, try to supplement what we all do. And some people that they're all YouTube. I'm KPRC2. I'm www.click2houston.com, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram, all those things. But yeah, appreciate you guys, and the channel is growing nice and fast, and we'll get there. Anyway, guys, talk to you soon. Thanks for your time. Talk soon.